We do have a lot to get to, including breaking news overnight on the battle to reopen states. Michigan's governor has now extended her state's emergency declaration despite armed protesters swarming the Capitol to demand its end. And in the commotion, some lawmakers were reportedly seen putting on bulletproof vests, Savannah.
In the meantime, a federal-private partnership called Operation Warp Speed is being created to accelerate the development of a coronavirus vaccine, and it has a big goal: 300 million vaccine doses ready in just 8 months. Is that possible?
And as we begin this new month, let's just put things into perspective for a second. 2 months ago, on March 1st, there were just 2 coronavirus deaths reported nationwide. By April 1st, that number jumped to more than 4,800. This morning, on the first day of May, the death toll now stands at more than 63,000. We are covering it all. We're starting with the newest fights over restarting the economy. NBC's Blaine Alexander is in Georgia. It's one of the earliest states to start the reopening process. Hey, Blaine, good morning.
Well, hey, Hoda, good morning to you. Here in Georgia, the state's shelter-in-place order officially expired overnight. Lenox Square was one of the malls that was set to reopen today, now pushing that day back to Monday as others open around the state. But while some states are lifting their restrictions, others are only extending the lockdown. Overnight, tensions mounting in Michigan. Hours after protesters stormed the state capitol, demanding an end to the stay-at-home order, Governor Gretchen Whitmer extended a state of emergency in Michigan for another month, just hours before it was set to expire. It comes after Republican-led state lawmakers declined to extend the state's emergency declaration and voted to authorize a lawsuit to challenge the Democratic governor. Whitmer, writing in part, by refusing to extend the emergency and disaster declaration, Republican lawmakers are putting their heads in the sand and putting more lives and livelihoods at risk. I'm not going to let that happen. Elsewhere, with the start of a new month comes a wave of cautious reopenings nationwide.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
A growing number of states are rolling back retail restrictions. Simon Property Group, the nation's biggest mall operator, will reopen 31 locations in 8 states today. Retail giant Macy's announcing the reopening of nearly 70 stores in the coming days. In Texas, restaurants and retail stores can welcome customers today at limited capacity. Workers at Oddfellows restaurant in Dallas are ready to test the waters.
We also hear our local leaders saying, be very cautious.
On the Texas coast, state beaches are now open to residents with limitations. Florida's Clearwater beaches are set to reopen Monday after hundreds of spring breakers forced them to shut down. But in California, Governor Gavin Newsom is overriding local officials and locking down the shores in Orange County.
Specific issues on some of those beaches have raised alarm bells.
It comes as other states like Illinois are joining Michigan, extending their social distancing mandates.
We really can't begin to open up until we have 14 days of down cycle of those numbers.
None of the states reopening have seen a 14-day downward trend in new cases recommended by the White House before easing restrictions. And overnight, a number of cars came together in downtown Atlanta to stage a mock funeral procession. Organizers say that it was to protest the end of the state's shelter-in-place order, and they're calling it something to illustrate what they call the deadly consequences of the governor's decision to reopen Georgia. Savannah?
All right, Blaine, thank you. And in the meantime, federal guidelines for social distancing expired overnight, and officials are turning their focus to the race for treatments and a potential vaccine for the virus. NBC's White House correspondent Kristen Welker is on that angle this morning. Hey, Kristen, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. As the government's guidelines for reopening the country officially go into effect today, prompting that patchwork that you just saw from the states, there is more pressure than ever to find not only a treatment, but also a vaccine. All this with the cases of coronavirus mounting and with the economy in free fall.
In an effort the administration has dubbed Operation Warp Speed, President Trump intensifying the push to find a vaccine for the coronavirus.
We're going to fast track it like you've never seen before.
Leaving taxpayers, not drug companies, paying for it, but potentially saving precious time by fast tracking the process.
You know who's in charge of it? Honestly, I am. I'll tell you, I'm really in charge of it.
Some administration officials say the vaccine could be ready as early as January. Savannah pressed Dr. Anthony Fauci about whether that timeline is realistic.
Do you feel that's in the realm of possibility?
Yeah, I do, Savannah. I mean, I'm obviously part of the team that's involved in that.
It all comes as more people are praising a potential treatment that has shown promising results, remdesivir. Preliminary findings from an NIH study show the median recovery time for patients who took the medication was 11 days, compared to 15 for those who took a placebo. The FDA is expected to issue an emergency use order for the drug, allowing it to be given to COVID-19 patients, even though it doesn't have official approval yet.
I think very importantly, that was a step. That was a big step.
Meantime, President Trump says he's seen evidence that gives him a high degree of confidence that the coronavirus emanated from a laboratory in Wuhan, China. The comments coming just hours after the director of national intelligence said in a statement that the virus was not man-made or genetically modified.
The director of national intelligence today put out a statement saying that they believe it was naturally occurring, it was not man-made.
Oh, he would know that, huh? National intelligence.
And my question is, have you seen anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
And what gives you a high degree of confidence that this originated from the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
I can't tell you that. I'm not allowed to tell you that.
Now, the president declined to provide evidence to back up his claim. Intelligence officials have been investigating the origins of the virus as the Trump administration weighs possible retaliatory actions against China, accusing it of lacking transparency in the initial stages of this crisis. We will discuss all of this when the new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, answers questions today, Savannah. It's the first briefing by a press secretary in over a year. Savannah.
All right, Kristen, thank you. And coming up, we're going to have a live interview with the CEO of the company that makes that drug, remdesivir. Looking forward to that conversation in just a few minutes. 7:09 now. We'll send it to you, Hoda.
All right. Meantime, the economic toll continues to mount with 30 million Americans out of work during this pandemic. And a lot of other people are saying they've been unable to file their jobless claims. NBC Business correspondent Jo Ling Kent is taking a closer look at that for us. Hey, Joe, good morning.
Hey, Hoda, good morning to you. It's a very difficult time right now with 18% of the U.S. workforce out of a job. Financial tensions are rising. This is some frontline retail workers say they're going to walk off the job today to call for better working conditions. As the Amazon CEO says, this is the hardest time the company has ever faced.
This morning, workers at some of the nation's biggest retailers, including Amazon, Target, and Instacart, say they're planning a one-day walkout, calling for greater workplace protections. The companies telling NBC News the protesters are a small minority and point to a wide range of safety protocols they've put in place.
I lost my job due to COVID-19.
It comes as thousands are planning a national rent strike today, the first day of the month.
I was not able to pay my rent in April. I feel very stressed, worried, and at times scared.
Residents are calling on governors to cancel rent and mortgage payments altogether. A third of renters were not able to pay on time last month.
This is my first time researching unemployment.
More than 30 million Americans have filed for unemployment over the past 6 weeks, with some economists predicting the actual number of people out of work may be far greater.
I have to wait for emails to tell me if I'm approved or denied.
Many who have lost jobs still haven't been able to complete unemployment applications because of outdated state computer systems crippled by the overwhelming demand. In Florida, more than 266,000 claims filed since March 15th have been rejected. That's nearly 40%. But the state has not explained why this is happening, only telling workers to apply again. In Glendale, California, the iconic Alex Theater has been closed since March 19th. All of its events canceled through July.
We're working essentially as volunteers to keep the balls in the air.
They've attempted to get a Paycheck Protection Program loan several times, but nothing has come through yet.
Do you need that PPP money to survive?
We certainly do. We'd love to bring our staff back. We have a lot of work that can be done, but it takes people. It takes their skills, it takes their talents, and of course their time, and they need to be paid for that.
Now, for the lucky small businesses who have received a PPP loan, they're grateful, but they also say it's not necessarily enough, and it's certainly no guarantee that they're going to survive this pandemic. Hoda.
All right, Joe, thank you. And still ahead, Stephanie Rule. She'll join us with some advice if you are tight on cash and you have those monthly bills that are due today. She'll take care of that. Savannah, over to you.
All right, Hoda, now to the big story in politics today. Former Vice President Joe Biden is set to comment publicly for the very first time on a former aide's allegation of sexual assault. And we should warn you, these accusations are graphic. NBC senior Washington correspondent Andrea Mitchell joins us with the latest on this story. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Well, facing his first test as the apparent Democratic nominee this morning, Joe Biden is set to publicly address an allegation of sexual assault from the early 1990s, 27 years ago, made by a former Senate staffer, a charge his campaign says is absolutely not true. For the first time today, Joe Biden is expected to publicly respond to the sexual assault allegation made by Tara Reade, who briefly worked in his Senate office 27 years ago. Reade says in 1993, Biden pinned her against a wall and assaulted her in a corridor. She started telling her story in March to news outlets, including Democracy Now!
I remember his hands underneath my blouse and underneath my skirt, and his fingers penetrating me as he was trying to kiss me, and I was pulling away.
The Biden campaign has said this absolutely did not happen. Reade's public account has evolved over time. Last year, she was among a handful of women who called out Biden for what they called inappropriate, although not sexual, touching. At the time, Reade described Biden touching her on the shoulder or running his index finger up my neck during a meeting. NBC News has reached out to 5 people Reade said she told about the alleged assault, either at the time or since. 3 former Senate staffers told NBC News they do not recall any such conversation with Reade. A 4th, who asked that her name be withheld, says Reade did tell her about it at the time. A 5th person, who also spoke with NBC but did not want her name used, recalled Reade telling her about inappropriate touching, but not an assault. Earlier this week, Linda Lacasse, a former neighbor, told Business Insider she recalled Reade telling her about an alleged assault several years after the alleged incident. Asked for comment, Lacasse texted NBC News that account, which was consistent with Reade's allegation. But Lacasse did not respond to any questions when we tried to follow up. Biden's allies, including several women he has considered as a potential running mate, are defending him and citing his long record combating violence against women. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also weighing in.
I have a great comfort level with the situation as I see it, with all the respect in the world for any woman who comes forward. With all the highest regard for Joe Biden.
President Trump's campaign has seized on the allegation, even though the president himself has been accused of sexual assault by multiple women, allegations he has denied.
I think he should respond. You know, it could be false accusations. I know all about false accusations. I've been falsely charged numerous times.
NBC News has asked Tara Reade for an interview. Reade has said that she filed a harassment complaint with the Senate at the time, but no reporter has ever found a record of it. Vice President Biden will be answering the allegation on MSNBC's Morning Joe at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Meanwhile, his campaign announced the team that will be vetting his choice of a running mate, who he has said will be a woman.